Testing. Today is Wednesday, March 24th. We will reconvene the Board of Finance budget hearing for the fiscal year 2024-2025. As most of you know, today is our final meeting and our vote on the city budget and the Board of Education budget. This time I'd like to ask everyone to please stand and pledge allegiance. Okay, well, thank you all for coming out. I assume most people are here for the Board of Education budget this evening. So as a matter of order, we will undertake our discussion and vote on the Board of Education budget first. Okay, so at this time, I would open up any discussion or motion from any members of the Board of Finance in regards to the Board of Education budget.
Good. Testing. Good evening. I'd like to make a motion to approve the Board of Education budget as presented at $111,285,770, which is a 4.7% increase.
Excuse me, there's a motion to approve the budget as presented by the Board of Education. Is there a second? I will second the motion. Is there any discussion on the motion?
Mr. Chair, through you, I believe this budget is a proper investment for the city. I believe we are financially healthy. We have a large grand list. Our revenue list is up. I think the budget was thoughtfully and intentionally created. It represents the clear and continued progress and the good work going on in Milford Public Schools. Thank you.
Thank you. Discussion? Well, my thoughts on the budget, I think over the course of the last month or two, and the Board of Education has been appeared before us at least once, probably twice over the last month, and they've presented us with quite a bit of information that I think has been very helpful. We do appreciate that. I think, and I've expressed concerns in the past about enrollment, some other structural issues, and I think at the last meeting, the Board of Education did indicate that they're in the process of at least contemplating adopting a long-range plan in the next year or two that would evaluate some of these issues and determine a potential path of addressing some of them. Well, I do have concerns about whether it's sustainable to continue to grow a budget at a rate of over 4% a year. I am willing, at least at this year, to support the budget as presented, although, as I said, I am concerned about the impact on the taxpayers over the long term and whether it's sustainable, that level of growth over the long term. But for this year, I'm comfortable with it, and I would vote in favor of the motion.
Through you, Mr. Chair. I'll echo Lauren's sentiment. As a father of 4 children in the school system, I can't say enough great things about all the teachers do for the students. Matter of fact, my wife had met with a couple teachers today because there was Parent-Teacher Day. And just the intimate knowledge that these teachers have of the kids, it's remarkable, it's impressive. So from my perspective, we can't just look at this budget based upon the Board of Ed. It's got to be a total city budget with declining enrollment rates, with budget increases like we've seen over the last couple of years, and bearing in mind that we have over 60,000 residents that we have to be cognizant of, many of which, one of the things I've learned in these budget hearings and get to see is surprisingly how many people in the city of Milford are struggling. You listen to Bethel's presentation, and it's staggering how many people really are struggling. And I have to be, as a steward of the city's dollars here, mindful of that lowest common denominator, people that have a challenge meeting their day-to-day expenses, have a challenge determining where their next meal is going to come from, where even a 1%, 2% increase in an overall budget is a make or break for some of these people. I'm fortunate enough. You want to raise my taxes, raise them. It's not going to probably impact me. And I look around the room, I would assume that the same applies to many people in here. But we have to be mindful of the entire city. And I am not in favor of the full increase that is reflected here in the budget book of 4.7%. I would put forth the motion if it's appropriate at this time. No, we're still under discussion?
Well, I'm going to make the motion.
Oh, we have to vote on this and then make it, yep, gotcha. But that's my 2 cents.
Mr. Chair, through you. I'm also concerned about, the impact of taxes across the city. I've also seen, Milford's addiction to ARPA money, which was the justification for an expansion of the social process in the schools. And while I think there's a need, the sole justification of adding 12 people to the Board of Ed budget forever, it wasn't really vetted. But it went through last year, and the public outcry said it's worth it. But I also don't believe in the full increase that is requested. But I would like to see also going forward some metrics on what those 12 counselors are doing. I was impressed that the school system is partnering with Bridges because they seem to be very well run. And I would like to see the program come together. We now have 12 people on staff to address student needs that reflect the effect of living in Milford with higher taxes. It's just, I think there's a place between the full 4.7% and, zero that we need to discuss. I agree with Scott. I do not believe with the full increase. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Arnold. Well, just to follow up, certainly Scott and Ray raised some valid points. I think most of the people here are probably here to support the budget, which is fair. I've been doing this a long time, and I think years ago you used to have a lot of people on fixed incomes show up to these hearings and raise concerns about increases in taxes. You don't see as many of those people with those concerns anymore, because frankly I think a lot of them just leave the state and move to Florida or some other southern state. But the concerns are still real. So Scott and Ray raised some valid points about trying to balance the needs of the school system with the concerns about tax increases and burden on taxpayers. But again, for this year, I'm in support of the request, although I do have concerns about its sustainability over the long term. Any further discussion on the motion? If there's no further discussion, there's a motion on the floor to approve the Board of Education budget as presented by the Board of Education. All those in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. Opposed?
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 Just for, did we get that two in favor? Myself and Lauren, and opposed, Scott, Ray, Megan. The motion fails to carry. Any other motions?
I'll make a motion, Mr. Chair, that we approve a budget of $109,950,341, which represents an approximate 3.5% increase over last year's budget, which will be one of the, outside of last year, largest increases that this budget's seen in a decade.
Thank you for the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Mr. Arnold. Any discussion on the motion? Any discussion on the motion? Okay, hearing none. There's a motion made. Did you get that? Yes, okay, so there's a motion made. All those in favor? Aye. Say aye, please.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Nay. Opposed, nay. So I have three in favor of the motion as presented by Mr. Moulton and two opposed. Motion carries 3-2. At this point, we can move on to the City of Milford budget. And if I am correct, we should start on page 14?
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman. Before we move on, I just wanted to confirm the number for the education budget. $109,950,341.
That's correct.
Is that correct?
Is it-
$109,950,341.
That's correct, Peter.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for the confirmation. Okay, so if there's nothing further on Board of Education, which I don't think there would be at this point, we will move on to page 14 of the city budget. We're going to have a few changes. I think, Scott, you'll make a motion to approve as presented. We'll have a second. And then I will stop you as we need to. But I think we're only going to get through on the first one, which is Board of Aldermen, page 14, because we have a change for elections. Okay, entertain a motion for the Board of Aldermen, please.
And you just to be clear, you want to hear the
I
the
think,
100505, so you want to hear the number and the department?
I think it's sufficient if we just list the Board of Aldermen without the department number. I think that's sufficient.
That's sufficient for me as well.
For the
Thank you.
motion. So, and then we won't, only if there's a change where we need to read the change, I think the motion can be as presented. So the Finance Board recommends or moves to approve as presented by the mayor.
Sure. Okay. All right, Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion that we approve as presented, Board of Aldermen, $7,705.
Motion made, is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Lauren, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The motion carries.
I'll make a motion that we approve the Elections Department at $150,000.
For a department total of $150,000.
Second.
So motion made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
So we want to go from here to,
Page 15, Register of Voters.
And we'll go all the way to 19.
through the general expenses.
I will make a motion that we approve the following as presented. Registrar of Voters, Milford Government Access TV, Mayor's Office. And we'll end there.
There's a motion made to approve as presented. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Next up, I'll make a motion under general expenses, approve with the following changes. Professional services and audit should be increased to $65,455, bringing the department total to $401,407.
Second.
Thank you. The motion made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. So we could go through
The 24th.
Yes.
So I'll make a motion that we approve the following departments as presented. Community Development, City Clerk,
Yep. That's it. So there's a motion made to approve as presented. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. And as far as the Law Department, I am, do recuse myself on that department, so I will not be voting.
I'll take it from here for this department. Mr. Chair, can I hear a motion on the Law Department?
Sure. I move that we approve the department total for 1005131 for $719,419.
I'll second that.
If you wouldn't mind,
Yeah.
Mr. Arnold, just note the change.
The change is a reduction in the account 577142 from $1,500 that the mayor recommends to $1. So the total goes from $720,918 down to $719,419.
Okay. Can I get a second on that clarifying motion?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. Back to you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Moulton. Page 25, Ethics Commission. Oh, I'm sorry. So we can start with Ethics Commission, and we can go all the way through Public Library.
I'll make a motion that we approve the following departments as presented, starting with Ethics Commission, Probate Court, Board of Finance, Permitting and Land Use, Board of Assessment Appeals, Zoning Board of Appeals, Pension Board, Flood and Erosion Board, Tree Commission, Civil Service Commission, Park, Beach and Recreation Commission, Economic Development Commission, Conservation Commission, Veterans Ceremony and Parade Commission, Housing Code Board of Appeals, and Open Space.
Thank you. There's a motion made. May I have a second?
I'll second that.
Seconded by Lauren. Discussion. Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
All right, moving on. I'll make a motion that we approve with the following changes, Public Library. Regular wages at $935,418, bringing the subtotal to $1,046,576, bringing the department total to $1,298,426.
Mr. Chairman, just to interrupt, please include the 1/5 fiscal week account as well.
Oh, okay, I see here. You circled one big circle, not two. Okay. I'm easily fooled there. Thank you. All right, to clarify my motion, we're going to have a couple of updates to the public library before we move to vote. Regular wages goes to $935,418. 1/5 fiscal week goes to $4,658, which brings the subtotal to $1,046,576. We also have the assistant library director, which is position 45930002. at $85,159, which brings the position totals to $935,418, bringing the department total to $1,298,426.
Thank you for that motion. Is there a second?
I'll second that motion.
There's a motion made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? Peter, I'm not sure if I recall the reason for the change of the assistant library director. Is that because of the MSA or something?
Mr. Chairman, this is, we discussed earlier, this was due to a memorandum of understanding between the union and the city.
Very good. I assumed as much, but I just didn't recall. Thank you for the clarification. So there's any further discussion on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Page 37. All right. This is going to be a long one.
Yeah, we got a bunch. Okay. I'll make a motion that we approve the following departments as presented, starting with the Finance Department, Information Technology Management Info System, so 1005054-170. Human Resources, Police Department, Fire Department, Emergency Management, Animal Control, Lighting, Hydrants, Water.
There's a motion made. Oh, I'm sorry. We'll do one more.
And one more in this
Public Works.
category here, Public Works Office.
Thank you. There's a motion made. I cut it off a little bit early, but yes, motion made to approve those departments as presented. Is there a second?
Second that motion.
The motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Again, I just generally, general comment on both police and fire. I think this year, both departments presented a very compelling case for their needs, and I would like to thank the fire department in particular for providing us some additional information as far as the background of their request, which was very helpful and appreciated. Any other discussion on those departments?
Through you, Mr. Chair, I'd like to echo your sentiments to the PD and the fire department, and also thank the Public Works Office for making Milford beautiful. So thank you, Mr. Saley.
Thank you, Lauren. Any further discussion?
Can't follow that. That was perfect.
Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Okay, here we go with all the changes.
Who's responsible for these, Chris? I will make a motion that we approve highway parks with the following changes. Under senior foreman and foreman, E48-5, that should be $90,810 under senior foreman. We have two positions, both listed as heavy equipment operator, 43210006, 43210007. We will put forth the motion to put in 0 for those line items. Light equipment operator, we have two positions, both at $59,978 that would be added in. We have a truck driver under drainage that would be put in at $58,114. And we have a laborer in drainage that would be put in at 0. Continuing on to the next page, under maintainer/traffic controller, that would have a wage of $57,226. That brings the position totals to $2,345,718, which brings the subtotal, including a 1/5 fiscal week of $11,674, to $2,597,392, for a department total of $3,007,542.
Thank you, Scott. Very well made and understood. Thank you.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman, everything said was correct. I just want, if I'm not mistaken, just to mention, after the senior foreman at $90,810, the existing foreman will be 0 because it's being converted to a senior foreman. Thank
Yes,
you.
I think he may have said that, but that was your intent?
It was in, yeah, I didn't clarify the noted promotion, if it's that.
Yes.
So thank you for clarifying that, Peter.
You're welcome.
Thank you. So there's a motion made. Is there a second?
I'll second that motion.
Seconded. Discussion. I think just for purposes of clarification, there were a lot of position changes, but they were more in the nature of reclassifications to have the positions more closely aligned with what the actual job duties were and what was being performed. And I do not believe any of those reclassifications or clarifications resulted in any new positions. They were just updating the positions to be more realistic to what the job duties were. So we appreciate that being done. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Okay, I think we have a somewhat similar situation in general garage. Is there a motion?
Mr. Chair, can I make a motion that we approve as presented building maintenance?
Oh, yes, thank you. Okay, there's a motion. I think we'd include engineering in that as well.
Yeah, let's make a motion to approve as presented building maintenance and engineering.
Thank you. Okay, there's a motion made to approve those two departments as presented. Is there a second?
I'll second those motions.
Thank you. There's a motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Okay.
I'll make a motion under general garage with the following changes. Fiscal wages to increase to $575,843. 1/5 fiscal week to $2,864. What feeds into the regular wages, and I'm going to go position by position here, is mechanic automotive will go to $64,753. If you look at line items 4329007, 4329008, both of those are mechanic automotive, and those will be placed at 0. If you go down the list a little further, you're going to see master mechanic automotive. Those will be increased to $87,360, and those are 2 positions, so at $87,360 each. And that brings the position totals to $575,843, which brings the department total to $1,828,212.
Thank you. The motion made. Is there a second?
Second that motion.
Thank you. For the second. Discussion. Again, just same comment as with public or highway and parks, just reclassifications. So if there's no further discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
I'll make the motion that we approve as presented the following departments: solid waste, public debt service, health department, recreation department.
Yep. Okay, there's a motion made to approve those departments as presented. Is there a second?
Second the motion, please.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Just a few general comments on 2 of these departments. One, I just think it's worth noting that unfortunately the waste removal costs, page 78 for the city, have been increasing steadily, and almost $1 million increase anticipated this year, but that is what the market dictates at this point. So it's a rather substantial increase over the last several years. And then I would just like to make a comment about the health department. I had concerns about the new position for the community health coordinator, and I frankly still do to some degree. But my understanding is that that position had currently, or is currently filled and had been funded through grant funds, and that it's now being moved from grant to the budget side. And Member Arnold made a comment earlier about the creeping nature of grants, and it is concerning, but if the position was not already filled, I would be opposed to that position, but since it is a filled position, I will vote in favor of it, but that's my only comment. If there's any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Okay, page, we got a few change, employee benefits, page 84.
I'll make a motion that we make the following changes to employee benefits. Under pension, fire, police, general, that should reflect $16,180,000. Self-insurance contribution should be reflected as $12,892,291, which brings the department total to $35,585,900. $815,532.
Thank you. There's a motion made. Is there a second?
Second motion.
Motion has been seconded. Any discussion? Peter, you threw that one in, that we've got a further increase in the pension for police and fire. Is that also having to do with actuarials, or?
Mr. Chairman, yes, through you and to the rest of the board, every 3 years, the actuary is requested to do a COLA study for the pension, and the study was released to the pension board, so the pension board is considering a COLA adjustment, which in the worst case scenario would increase the ADIC by $280,000. So that reflects the increase that you see there.
Thank you for that explanation. Yeah, it's clearly we have an obligation to fund and fully fund our pensions, so it's really not an option, but it's unfortunate that we've really seen an increase from, you know, close to 14 million to over 16 million at this point over the last year or two. So it's a substantial financial obligation for the city, without question. The good news, and I think we've discussed this in our meetings, is that as far as the self-insurance contribution, we did see a rather substantial decrease in the anticipated contribution from almost just over 16 million last year to just under 13 million this year, so that's certainly a welcome decrease. So thank you, administration, for figuring that out. That's very well done. Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Okay,
All right.
yes.
I'll make a motion, Mr. Chair, that we approve as presented the following: insurance and bonds, claims and refunds, benefit and salary reserve, unallocated contingency, Council on Aging, Milford Arts Council, CMed, Regional Mental Health Board, Borough of Woodmont, Transit Authority, Bridges Healthcare, Inc., Veterans Graves, Milford Flotilla 73, Human Services Department, Historic District, Milford Progress, Inc., Historic District 2, Health Services, Cemetery Association, Beth El Center, Boys and Girls Club, Literacy Volunteers of Southern Connecticut, Historic Preservation Commission, Private School Textbook, and we'll stop there.
Thank you. Thank you for the motion. Is there a second on the motion?
I'll second the motions.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? And just a few general comments from me, for what it's worth. And I do appreciate the mayor's recommendation for the small increase, but an increase for the Milford Finance Council, which I think is appropriate. I think they are a great economic driver for the downtown, as well as a good option for entertainment in the city. And I think Beth Al in particular, I'm glad to see that the city is continuing its financial commitment to that, because I do think they provide services to the city well beyond what we could provide directly, certainly at a very reasonable cost. in the future, if there was any inclination to increase that contribution, I'd be in favor of that, although this year I'm more than happy to vote with the mayor's recommendation. So those are my only two general comments. Further? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
I'll make a motion that we approve the education audit fees at a department total of $37,935, which is a slight increase above what was presented in the proposed budget book.
Thank you. There's a motion made. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries unanimously. I'll go on to page 94.
I'll make a motion that we approve as presented the following: school debt, education employee benefits.
Oh, I'm sorry. I lost track here. What was the first? Oh, school debt. Okay.
Right after education audit fees, we have two more to approve before we
Yes, thank you.
go on here. We would approve school debt at $6,381,957, as well as education employee benefits at $1,416,223.
Thank you. I had lost my place there for a second. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Or, I'm sorry, any discussion? Okay, there's a motion made and seconded. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. We did EO, so we can go to health contribution, I think.
That's right. That's
Yes.
right. Okay, so I'll make a motion that we approve education health insurance contribution at the following: $21,622,801, which brings that department total to $21,622,801.
Thank you. There's a motion made. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? So, just again briefly, similar with the city's self-insurance contribution, this number has decreased by almost $3 million, so that's certainly a welcome trend. Hopefully it continues in the future. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Okay, so I think now that's the end of our technical changes. So, Peter, correct me if I'm wrong, but...
Can I make one more motion, Mr. Chair?
I'm sorry?
Can I make one more motion?
Oh, yes.
I'd like to make
yes, thank you.
a motion that we approve as presented education health services school nurses with a total of $1,631,492.
Thank you, Scott. Again, I skipped ahead. Is there a motion made? Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried unanimously. Okay, so I think we go to page 98, if I'm correct, right, for sewer commission?
97 or 98?
Well, I think 97 self-populates once we do sewer commission. All right? Sewer and wastewater, is that correct, Peter?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, you may use page 97 and approve the revenues and expenditures in total.
In total, okay. So I guess, do we need to move on to each department then after that?
No, I think for the next, for sewer, marina, and golf course, you would approve the revenue total first, and then make a vote, then approve the expenditure total, make a vote, et cetera, for the next three funds.
Thank you for the clarification, Peter. I'm never quite sure when we get to these funds, so I appreciate that.
All right, I'll make a motion on the revenue side, under the sewer fund, that we approve revenues totaling $9,768,496.
The motion made, is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously to approve the revenues.
I'll make a motion under sewer fund expenditures that we approve total budget of $9,768,496.
So motion made to approve expenditures as presented. Is there a second?
Second motion.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Okay, I think we can go on to page 107.
All right, Mr. Chair.
107?
106.
Harbor
Oh, that's sewer use, gotcha. Okay, here we go. I'll make a motion under Harbor Management Commission, summary of revenues, that we approve the revenue total of $393,858.
Motion made, is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
I'll make a motion under Harbor Management Commission expenditures, total budget of $393,858.
Thank you. There's a motion to approve harbor management expenditures as presented. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion under golf course revenues that we approve as presented revenues of $101,000.
There's a motion made to approve golf course as presented. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion made and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? The motion carries unanimously.
I'll make a motion also under golf course that we approve the expenditures for a total budget of $101,000.
Motion made to approve golf course expenditures as presented. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion carries unanimously. I think we head over to page 4. There is a change on that one.
Yeah, I see a few changes here, quite a few. Nope. 4 and 6.
Take your time.
Excuse me, so Mr. Chairman, just for a review on the general fund revenues, you may approve the technical changes, go through them, and then we'll pause, and I'll calculate the current year taxes, give you that, and then you can approve the budget in total for the revenues. Thank you.
That's very helpful, thank you.
Yeah, understood. So I'm going to make a motion under the general fund revenue account that we approve taxes, PP audits, prior year taxes at $1 million flat. Interest and lien fines also at $1 million. Education cost sharing at $9,673,235. Conveyance tax at $1,250,000.
Peter, I believe those are the only technical changes?
That is correct.
So should we approve those, or are you going to continue to, we'll add the tax revenue before we vote?
I believe you may approve those changes,
Yes.
and then
Then we'll vote on
when
it.
we'll pause, I'll give you the current year taxes, and then you can vote on the grand total. Thank you.
Okay, so is there a motion to approve those technical changes as
As you present,
As
just
presented.
presented. Okay, thank you. That will, there's a motion made. Is there a second?
A second motion.
Motion made and seconded. Just want to see here. I mean, this is more not related to the changes. Well, I'll hold off. Okay, motion made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
aye?
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Okay, at this time, we'll take a brief recess to allow some calculations to be done. Take a quick break. For a break.
Mr. Chairman, we may proceed when you're ready. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. So, if I recall correctly, so you will provide us with a number for, on page 4, current taxes?
Yes.
Whenever you're ready.
So the current year taxes total for that line item will be $223,403,240. And yeah, I'll repeat that. 223-403-240.
So that's $223,403,240.
Yes,
No pennies?
no pennies. This brings the grand total for the general fund budget, which is also the total for general fund revenue, for page 8. That total is $257,825,012. 257,825,012.
Thank you, Peter, for getting us that information so quickly. Okay, so with that information, we can make a motion. I think we would approve two-part motion, the current tax figure that was just provided, and then the total that was just provided. So just entertain a motion, or do we? Yes?
Okay. I'll make a motion, Mr. Chair, that we approve current taxes on the revenue side of $223,403,240, which brings the total revenue to $257,825,012.
Okay, there's a motion made and seconded.
Second motion.
Oh, so thank you. Motion now made and now seconded. Discussion. So at this point, Peter, are you able to provide us with the mill rate?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the mill rate for that budget amount would be 28.72. And that represents a 1.55 mil increase over last year's, the current year rather, fiscal year 24 mill rate of 27.17. So again, the mill rate for this fiscal year 25 recommended budget would be 28.72.
28.72 as a mill rate, which is a 1.55 increase over last year's mill rate. Okay.
Do we need a motion on that? We have to vote on that?
Yes, we'll have to, there's a motion made. I don't think we need to approve the mill rate, but
No.
it functions automatically. Okay, so there was a motion made and seconded. Any discussion, further discussion? Well, I would just like to thank the mayor, Peter, Justin, for all your hard work on this budget. I know it's not easy. I'd also, the Board of Education is no longer here, but I'd certainly like to thank them for all their hard work as well, and I'm sure every member of the board feels the same way. We appreciate all your efforts, and it's been a difficult year. I'm sure the Board of Aldermen have some work to do as well, but I do thank also the members of the board. It's a lot of work over the month of February and March to get this done, and I think everyone certainly made great efforts and to get it done, and I think do the best we can under the circumstances. So appreciate it. If there's any other comments or discussion, welcome.
Through you, Mr. Chair, just want to again thank the mayor, thank Peter for all his hard work, Justin, and all the department heads, all the folks at the Board of Ed. Just thank you for all you do for the city of Milford and the great people in Milford. And thank you, Mr. Chair, for keeping us organized.
I try. Herding cats sometimes. Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Chairman, good evening, and thank you. I would also like to thank you and express my gratitude for your service to the community. This is a very respected board. We have some ranking members on this board, and you've all brought your professional and your experience to this process. And I know the citizens of Milford appreciate that, and you volunteer your time. So I would just like to thank you for your recommendation, moving this forward to the Board of Aldermen. And I'm sure this was a rigorous process, as we all know, but your work does not go, unappreciated. And I would just like to, let you know first and foremost that as a former volunteer on boards and commissions, that I appreciate all your time and effort and your consideration that went into your votes. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's greatly appreciated. It's been a pleasure working with you on your first budget as mayor. So at least we're halfway there. So before we forget, any further comments or discussion on the motion? Okay.
I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
No, we got to vote? I didn't vote yet. We've been discussing.
Vote. Okay.
We don't want to leave without a vote. That could be a problem.
Well, again, thank Mr. Chair for being organized and keeping us in line.
So I think we know what we're going to vote, but there's a motion made and seconded to approve the budget as stated. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion carries unanimously, and the Board of Finance has adopted a budget for this year. And Tony, we didn't mean to leave you out. Thank you for all your hard work, putting up with us. And now,
I'll make a motion that we adjourn this budget hearing.
thank you. There's motion to adjourn, seconded. I'm assuming there's no discussion, so all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We are adjourned. See you next year.